Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/am I the butthole, where OP's wondering if she's the butthole for breaking up with her boyfriend who released her elderly dog into the wild to fend for themselves because his feelings got hurt. Our first Reddit post comes from Anna Marie 5, titled, "Am I the butthole for breaking up with my boyfriend because he lost my dog?" And bear with me, this one's going to be kind of a long one as there's actually a pretty good update at the end. Myself, a 24-year-old female, and my boyfriend, a 24-year-old male, have been together for almost 4 years. We get along okay for the most part. Things like him losing something of mine have happened before, but never to this level. I have had my dog Milo, a 12-year-old female dog, for her entire life. We grew up together, and it's really hard for her to get to trust other people. She has always been an anxious girl, but she is the light of my life and was always by my side, even in my worst days. 3 years ago, I introduced my boyfriend to my family, which is just my mom and Milo, basically. He and my mom got along okay, but he didn't really acknowledge Milo in any way, which is fine. I didn't really expect him to be all over her, considering she doesn't really like that anyway, but I still found it pretty strange because he said that he absolutely loved dogs, and to be honest, I believe that because he would always pet dogs when we were outside, that he wasn't lying to me. Any interaction for the past 3 years with her, though, was pretty limited, but Milo eventually warmed up to him. She would greet him at the door, go for pets from him, which he sometimes gave her, and accepted him on our daily walks. A year and a half ago, Milo got sick. She had a tooth infection, which was actually pretty bad. Her whole right eye ended up being swollen shut. I asked my boyfriend to take us to the vet because I don't have a car. The vet took care of the infection and gave me some antibiotics to give her every single day and instructed me to clean the wound that was left after the vet cleaned the pus from it. For a couple of weeks, I did not hang out that much with my boyfriend because I had to take care of Milo because she wasn't feeling that great. One thing that stood out to me was the fact that he seemed pretty pissed actually every time I brought her up talking about her progress. Looking back, that should have risen some major red flags, but I guess I just brushed it off. Now that I've given you a short version of the past, this is what's happening in the present. I planned with my mom to go on a short vacation to visit my grandparents. I was talking to my boyfriend about this trip, and I told him who would take care of Milo. It ended up being my best friend Alex, a 23-year-old male. My boyfriend then offered to take her instead. He was mad that I didn't come to him first, stating that he loves Milo and he wants to go on walks with her. I reluctantly agreed, considering this, quote, love for her was out of the blue. This trip was supposed to last 3 days. On day 2, I was talking with my boyfriend on the phone and he casually says that Milo really likes to stay outside. For me, this felt really off and I asked him what he meant. He let my sweet girl stay outside hours at a time alone and would only check up on her hourly. Mind you, I live in an apartment building and I don't even have a backyard. Me and my mom left as soon as I told her and we arrived back home at around 9 p.m. Since then, I blocked my boyfriend on literally everything and have been searching for my sweet girl. I've printed posters, went out every single day for hours at a time, and even put her on Facebook groups around my area. If you have any advice of anything more that I can do, please let me know. Of course, now he and his friend group say that I'm the butthole because I have put my dog above my boyfriend in all our 4 years of our relationship. I know for a fact that this isn't true, but I don't have anyone else to ask besides people that are really close to me and would be biased for me and for him. And then OP goes on to post this update. My ex came to get his stuff today, and some of you might be happy for what you are about to read, but he did not get a single thing back. When he saw me, he started begging me to forgive him, and thanks to you, I agreed to forgive him only if he told me the truth. He just looked me straight in the face and said, "If I'm going to be honest with you, you won't forgive me," which broke my heart all over again, thinking about all the worst possibilities. When he saw me cry, he told me that I should just get over it because she was old anyway, but if I really wanted her back, that I should get back with him, and when he trusts me that I really forgave him, that I could see her again. I was honestly exhausted, hopeless, and angered, and even though I wanted my girl back, I just couldn't look at him, let alone be with him for however long that he took for him to tell me where she was. So he left, not telling me a single thing about Milo. I got a call some hours later, and on the other end was a lady who found Milo on the side of a road. She told me that she would wait for me to come get her because when she wanted to pick her up, she seemed to be in pain. When I got there and I saw her laying there, all my emotions flooded me. My sweet baby, and even though she looked so different, she was alive. She's now staying overnight at a vet as she has 2 broken ribs and is dehydrated. If everything goes well, she's going to be home soon. I appreciate each and every one of you that took the time to guide me through this nightmare. Thank you again so much, and I will be pressing charges. And then OP posts one final update. I have pressed charges and I now have a lawyer. I unblocked my ex like some of you said I should, and it was the best thing that I could have done. He is incriminating himself left and right, and my lawyer believes that we really have a chance of winning. Also, I might be able to get a protection order. His friend group has finally apologized, and his mom is in contact with me. Milo will be home later today, and she has a very good chance of making a full recovery, at least physically. My locks will definitely be changed tomorrow. OP, what your ex did is probably one of the most evil things that a human could do. Animals depend on us when we adopt them to protect them, feed them, take care of their medical needs, help them when they're hurt because they can't tell us what hurts and why it hurts. Like, it's the most precious thing and one of the biggest responsibilities a human can take on because, like, it's a little creature that you've, like, just promised to be responsible for. And mistreating that is, like, one of the worst things a human being could do. This guy belongs under the prison for what he did to her. And then hiding her whereabouts as a way to get you back is hands down one of the most manipulative things a person can possibly do, and one of the most evil things I think a person can do. I'm really happy for you, OP. You got your little girl back, and thankfully he showed you all of these red flags before you got married, had kids with him, and really tied yourself to him. Our next Reddit post comes from Potential Low 8645, titled, "Am I the butthole for giving crappy Christmas presents and ruining my marriage?" I, a 31-year-old female, married my soon-to-be ex-husband, a 33-year-old male, in 2018. My in-laws never liked me, and they made that very clear. My soon-to-be ex insisted that they were just putting up a tough exterior and that they'd grow to love me. To show how evil they really are, one time I joined them for dinner, and I brought a cake that I had made, mostly because I was always raised to be a gracious guest. When I stepped into the kitchen and offered the cake to his mother as a thank you for inviting me, she took the plate over to the garbage bin, dumped it in, and handed me the empty plate back. When I told my husband what she did, he confronted her, and all of a sudden, the crocodile tears started, and she claimed that she grabbed the plate but didn't get a good grip, that I let go too quickly, and it fell to the floor, so of course it had to be thrown away. My sister-in-law, quote, confirmed that that was what happened. My soon-to-be ex owned his own business, and they called me a gold digger behind his back. Of course, they insisted on a prenup, which I didn't care about getting because I never thought that my marriage would end, and I thought it would appease them and may allow them to finally treat me kindly. Nope, of course not. His business actually failed once COVID hit. We went through his savings and my own savings to try to keep it afloat, but I refused to go into debt to keep it going, so we ended up closing it down. In 2022, he was suffering from really bad depression because he's lost his business and he couldn't find any new work. He suggested that we move to his hometown closer to his family so he had a larger support network. Against my best judgment, we did. He wanted to only work part-time while he tried to restart his business, so I became the main breadwinner at home. And as most wives, I became the person in charge of buying gifts. Stupid old me thought that buying them thoughtful, expensive gifts would finally make them see that I wanted to be accepted by them. Gifts to us were a, quote, couple's gift, but clearly from my soon-to-be ex only in their eyes. Every single holiday was spent with my ex's family. Monthly dinners with the whole family, and after a year, I realized that if I ever tried to talk or join a conversation, everyone would go quiet, so I just stopped talking anytime we visited. In early December, they finalized plans for Christmas. A few days later, my soon-to-be ex said that his family didn't want me to join them for Christmas Eve dinner or Christmas lunch because I, quote, ruined the family vibe. I said, fine, we'll do our own thing instead. My soon-to-be ex sheepishly looked away and said that he was still going. I was livid and so disappointed in him. That was the moment that I knew that our marriage was over. So I returned the presents that I bought for his family, and in their place, I got one pair of novelty business socks for my father-in-law, a supermarket brand bottle of shampoo for my mother-in-law, and the nastiest perfume that I could find at the dollar store for my sister-in-law. The most expensive gift that I got was a large rawhide bone for my brother-in-law and his wife's chihuahua. This bone was way too big for its jaw to even get around, rendering it completely useless. I saved about $600 from all of this and helped use that money to combine with my own money for the deposit on a new apartment. My husband came home from Christmas lunch telling me that I humiliated him and embarrassed him in front of his entire family. I asked him why he thought that I would buy nice gifts for people who clearly don't like me and clearly don't want me around. So, in the end, I served him divorce papers last week. Remember how he was supposed to be a millionaire by now and that his whole family wanted us to get a prenup? My soon-to-be ex is now not eligible for any of my savings as it was required for us to keep our accounts separate, and he's not eligible for alimony. He also doesn't have any money for rent or car insurance, and honestly, that's not my problem anymore. Some of my friends and family are on my side and proud that I went into a blaze of glory. Others are telling me that I was being way too petty, which really isn't like me. So honestly, am I the butthole for this? OP, anywhere that my wife isn't welcome, I'm not welcome either. Your husband is a weak little sheep, or soon to be ex-husband, for allowing his family to just walk all over you and not say anything about it. I would never go anywhere and leave my wife at home and let my family walk all over my wife. For instance, my dad, who has always been a grumpy POS, absolutely hated my wife for honestly no reason at all, and I could never understand why. But because he kept treating her like that, I just kind of stopped talking to him, and I haven't talked to him since for a lot of other reasons as well. But at the end of the day, he's creating a family with you. He's supposed to defend you against everyone, including his own parents. So good on you, OP. You did the right thing. If your husband's going to act like this, you're better off alone. Our next Reddit post is from Firm Competition 3178, titled, "Am I the butthole for asking my husband to not walk around all nude because it makes my daughter uncomfortable?" For context, we were dating for around 4 years before we got married. We've been married for just 2 months. We talked about this habit before we got hitched, and he told me that he didn't do it anymore. When my daughter went to my parents' place for summer break, I stayed with him and I kept an eye on him. After he moved in, that's when I started noticing that he was back to his old ways, just scrolling on his phone. I brought it up and said, if you don't want to wear clothes, at least throw a robe on. He agreed, and this was just 4 days before my daughter got back. Now, to be honest, I never really paid attention to him when he was in the shower. But a couple of days before my daughter came home, I was putting away her clothes when I saw him walk out of the shower totally bare. I told him that he needed to cover up. I'm not the mean type, I'm just trying to make things work. The next day, while my daughter was at a party, he took a shower and came out in a robe, which made me think that we were finally making progress. However, on the day that my daughter came back, he asked her a question right after she arrived. I was just dusting my desk when I caught her name and she came over to say that she didn't like seeing him like that. That's when I had a talk with him, and everything from my post happened after that. I've always put my daughter before anyone except God, including in this situation. Now, here's the update. My husband took a shower this morning, and before he got in, I told him to bring his robe with him. He did, and then I sent my daughter downstairs and waited in her room to see what he would do. He came out of the bathroom and stood in front of her door, just scrolling through his phone. When he walked into her room and saw me, I told him that I was really upset that he was doing this, quote, habit on purpose. I even threatened to call the cops and told him that he and his kids could pack up. He got angry and claimed that I wouldn't let him be himself. I said that he could be himself in his own space. I immediately knew what had to be done, whether it was nice or not. I asked him how long he's been doing this and what else he's done to her. I wanted to know why he feels so comfortable acting this way and why he won't just wear a robe. This just isn't normal. He insisted that he hasn't done anything to her and claimed that she's just getting in the way of him loving me. I could tell that he was lying. I told him that he can answer those questions when the cop asks him. We're getting a divorce, and honestly, I've decided not to get married again for my own daughter's mental health. I can't risk putting her through more trauma. I really love my daughter, but honestly, I don't even think that I deserve her. I should have seen it sooner, but I didn't. A lot of you were right. He was just a predator trying to get to my daughter through me. OP, the best thing you can do for your daughter now is to at least get her into some counseling and help her try to work through whatever feelings she may be feeling. At least, at the very least, you caught this and you did something about it. I've read so many stories where so many significant others just want to turn a blind eye and don't want to admit the truth and just kind of let that pattern of abuse keep going and going. At least you did something about it and you protected your daughter when it counted. Hopefully he didn't do anything else to her, but this person sounds like the absolute scum of the earth and is completely a predator. There's just no excuse to walk around the house like that and show off his body like that, especially in front of kids that aren't his. And even if the kids were his, that's just creepy and predatory, and this dude should be in prison. If anything, no matter what, you still should call the cops, because if he's going to do it to you and in front of you, he's going to do it to his next partner, and someone's got to stop him. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/Am I the Butthole. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you like these stories, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below for any future Reddit subs that you'd like us to cover, as we post new Reddit videos almost every single day.